I was admittedly delayed a little bit to put this sequel video up because I got sidetracked with writing stuff about Monster Hunter Rise, along with obviously playing it, but here it is, 5 great Japanese exclusive Game Boy Advance games that got fan patches into English. Let's kick things off with Shin-chan Adventures in Cinemaland, or Shin-chan Arashi no Yobu, Cinemaland no Daiboken in Japanese, which launched on April 16th, 2004. It's a pretty simple platformer based on a very old but still worthwhile manga. It started in 1990 and ran up until 2010. More importantly, the anime has been going since 1992 and now has over 1,000 episodes. Shin-chan was an underrated anime on Adult Swim back when I was in high school. We didn't get all 1,000 episodes back then, I think like 50 or so, but I still liked it. I have a soft spot for the show, which is why I wanted to check this game out. It's also worth mentioning that this game was developed by Inti Creates, most known for the Mega Man Zero games, their own successor to that, Azure Striker Gunvolt, the Blaster Master reboot games, and so many others. They are a quality action platformer developer with excellent pixel artistry. This is a weird platformer to be sure, but no less good, and is now fully patched from what I can tell. Next up, Bakatas 3 Sabata's Counterattack, or Shinbakura no Taiyo, Gyakushuki no Sabata in Japanese, which I think I screwed up, which launched on July 28th, 2005. It is the missing sequel to Bakatas 2, and there are many reasons I can guess as to why it never came over here. 1. The DS launched in 2004, meaning that Nintendo and or Konami was not keen on bringing an old system's game to the West, even though the DS had backwards compatibility. This might also be because sales for both Bakatas games probably weren't that great over here. The reviews were decent, but the gimmick of having to go out into the sun to charge up the in-game solar gun may have been too ahead of its time. Thankfully, this patch not only converts the script into English, but it emulates the sun, meaning that one doesn't have to go outside with their computer to charge their laptop or whatever up, if that wasn't obvious. However, I should also mention though that the game is still in beta, and not everything is fixed with the translation, such as graphical cues. It is still very playable in its current state though. I should also mention real quick that this game, and overall series, is like Metal Gear, but with vampires and other monsters. So I guess exactly like Metal Gear. Okay, it's time to enter my bread and butter, aka RPG Town. First up on that list is Magical Vacation, which launched on December 7th, 2001. It may look familiar like a mana game. That's because this developer, Brownie Brown, worked on Sword of Mana on GBA right after this. They also worked on another game I'll mention later. Besides other franchises, they also made a sequel to this called Magical Vacation, Itsutsutsu no Hoshi ga Narobu Toki. Again, screw that up. That launched in 2006 for the DS and actually did come over here as Magical Star Sign, which is a lot easier to read. For fans of that game, it may be a revelation to learn that there is another game to play out there, and it is now fully translated into English. It is a turn-based RPG about a group of young magicians who were whisked away to another place while on a school trip. While there are physical attacks, the game primarily focuses on magic. The more one uses, the more it grows. It's a cute, simple little RPG that looks, plays, and sounds terrific. Moving on, we have Fire Emblem The Binding Blade, or Fire Emblem Fuin no Tsurugi in Japanese, which launched on March 29th, 2002. This has an odd history to it because it got a sequel prequel subtitled The Blazing Blade, which was set 20 years before this game took place. Funnily enough, that was the very first game we got, just called Fire Emblem, in 2003, thus breaking the 13-year silence of never getting one of these games outside of Japan. For those that have played one of these before, it's more of the same, which is to say it is a very good but very brutal tactical RPG. This was before the days of casual modes, wherein permadeath was always knocking on your door, and there were scarce resources and or ways to even level up. The game is fully translated though, so have at it. The best was saved, of course, for last because it is now time to talk about Mother 3, the game on the wish list of so many Nintendo fans across the globe. They have been pining for this for almost 2 decades now. Mother 3 launched on April 20th, 2006, so yeah, It's been a while. This was the aforementioned tease that Barney Brown worked on alongside Nintendo, and more importantly, HAL Laboratory. This really is a lost hidden gem that is just baffling as to why Nintendo hasn't ever officially translated it, despite fan outcry and this patch being very good and people love it. Never say never though, as the original 1989 Mother did get brought over in 2015 as Earthbound Beginnings, which was a 26-year gap. Given that math, Mother 3 should be here on the Switch 3 in about 2032. Joking optimism aside, or I guess that's more pessimistic, I've played through this game multiple times and love it every single time I find something new and just enjoy it all over again. It's such a great looking Game Boy Advance game and ambitious to boot for what it was. No RPG fan, whether they play the other games or not, should skip out on Mother 3. And that's the end of my Game Boy Advance month looking at Japanese games. Realistically, I could have made this a top 20 at the very least. There are so many great games on the Game Boy Advance that fans have translated, and this is only a small sampling of my favorites. That includes the games that have not been patched either in my last video. Maybe I'll return to this idea someday. Anyway, for now, stay tuned for more Game Boy Advance goodness come June when I celebrate the North American launch. Did you like that video? If you did, please like, subscribe, and spread the good word of ReActionExaminer. If you want to read more of my stuff, you can find a plethora of my articles over at TheGamer and Game Rant. All of those links and more are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching!